Hello, welcome to JoyNews Today. In the next hour, Ghana Education Service relieves Assistant Headmaster of Nkwetia Presby Senior High School of his duties after allegedly assaulting a female student who is reported to have left campus without exit. Also, minority demands thorough investigation by Parliamentary Committee investigating the leak tape on the alleged plot to remove the IGP from office, citing disturbing revelations.
If indeed we have such characters in the police service who do not see themselves as professionals, but as MPP party apparatchiks, then God should save our country.
And in our upcoming Hotline documentary, dubbed Forest Under Siege, we tell you about queries being raised by the environmental conservation NGO Arocha regarding the continuous funding of reclamation of lands destroyed by illegal miners. Catch JoyNews Today live on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and on all social media platforms. We're also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. Stay with us for details and more, including business, sports, world news, and showbiz. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Don't go away. In our first story, the Ghana Education Service has relieved the Assistant Headmaster of Nkwetia Presby Senior High School of his duties. The headmaster is reported to have physically assaulted a female student for leaving the school premises without exit. The incident has since sparked widespread outrage and public condemnation, with many calling for swift action. A statement issued by the Ghana Education Service has since condemned the violent attack. It also underscored the commitment of the service to protecting the welfare of students under its care. It stated that such behaviors are not only unacceptable, but also a breach of the fundamental duty educators have in nurturing a safe and conducive learning environment for all students. A team of high-profile security officers from Accra in a meeting with Northern Regional Chiefs over yesterday's attack on the Tamale District Court. 3 people, including a police officer, are still in hospital after sustaining injuries from the riot which broke out at court yesterday, Monday 28th. Now, information available to JoyNews indicates that there was a shooting incident at the court where a man who was allegedly selling medications illegally was standing trial. Some angry residents allegedly stormed the court premises and pelted stones at court officials and security personnel on duty while court proceedings were ongoing. Police intervened by firing warning shots to disperse the angry crowd. 13 people have so far been arrested in connection with the attack. According to JoyNews Northern Regional correspondent, the incident has caught the attention of the IGP, prompting him to dispatch a team from Accra to ascertain the facts on the ground.
The court is open, but they are yet to begin sitting. When I went to the court this morning, and the supervisor judge was meeting with his team at the court premises, and so after the meeting, we are told that they would begin working this morning. But as at the time I visited the place, they were yet to commence sitting for the day. I was also at the police station this morning. It's been difficult getting information, but what we do know is that the IGP had sent a team from Accra, and they are meeting the top hierarchy of the regional command here. So as at the time I was at the police station, they were having this meeting. At the hospital too, I saw the gentleman who was operated upon. Even though I've not been able to speak to him because hospital authorities say they have to go through the protocols to give me clearance, I saw him lying on the bed. When he was asked how he was doing, he smiled back and said he was doing well, a sign that he's recovering. But one thing I also saw was that he had a handcuff on his hand. Yesterday, I'm told that yesterday in the evening, somebody who was in handcuffs led the police to the hospital where the man was on admission. And I'm sure that is how come he's also in handcuffs this morning. But there's been limited information on what transpired, and he's also in handcuffs this morning.
Meanwhile, the Judicial Service Staff Association, JUSAG, has condemned the attack while describing it as an invasion and a barbaric one. Now, President of the association, Samuel Afote Otu, called on chiefs and sundry to work together and ensure that the incident does not recur. He spoke to me on News Desk.
Yes, everybody is okay. Everybody is fine today.
Right. And what have you gathered in terms of circumstances leading to this particular attack?
Well, actually, we heard it and then we came out with a release. So we are now waiting to see what happens. But currently, the suspects are under police custody for investigation.
Have you had any communication with the police on the matter?
Well, actually, even though we are issuing statements, we have management and Chief Justice, Judicial Secretary, and then, in fact, they are our administrators. So they are doing that on behalf of the members.
Does this in any way put some fear in your members moving on with such an incident happening? What alternatives or are there any measures you are putting in place to protect your members? I mean, in case something like this sort should happen again, or either way to prevent it from happening again?
Sure. Our members are afraid now because of this incident. In fact, this is not just the first time. Just last week or so, same incident happened at Kadeki. When a suspect was put in a police vehicle, the members or the supporters of the particular suspect were forcing to push that person out, pull him out of the car. And this is becoming rampant these days. So what we are trying to do is we want management and then the police service, especially IGP, to reinforce their security mechanisms, especially when there is such criminal matters pending before the court.
Other minorities demanding a thorough investigation by the Parliamentary Committee into the leaked IGP tape that has been authenticated. According to the minority, the additional revelations by the Prime Witness Daniel Bugui-Nabu so far are damning and puts the country's stability, especially the pending elections, at risk. Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Kofi Amabwa is therefore demanding the committee to get to the bottom of the case.
Even with the first day of hearings, it is very clear that indeed, as the testimony went, and I'm trying not to get into the work of the committee, but it's very, very clear that the authenticity of the tape, that indeed this happened, that indeed there was an occasion where this tape was recorded. And so I think that it confirms the worry I had. And I wish the committee well. I believe that they will get to the bottom of these issues and to make sure that all the fears of the people of Ghana who have listened to this tape are addressed. It should not happen in Ghana that people who have been entrusted at the highest levels to basically protect and safeguard the interests of the people of Ghana and the stability of this country in terms of security, especially when it comes to elections, see themselves as basically working in the interest of a political party to basically ensure certain outcome. That is a nightmare. If indeed we have such characters in the police service who do not see themselves as professionals, but as MPP party apparatchiks, then God should save our country. We must get to the bottom of it. And I believe that this committee will do exactly that.
The bid by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead the NPP is likely to hit a snag in November Congress. Although he secured overwhelming votes of over 68% in the Super Delegates Congress, placing him first on the list, political scientist at the University of Ghana, Dr. Ansa Asante, said it cannot be a trump card ahead of other contenders. Dr. Asante argues that the Vice President has more work to do because politics is full of surprises. Hence, any of the four aspirants can win the election.
Anything can happen here. Anything can happen. The five, each one of them is capable of winning. And it depends on a number of factors. How well you coordinate your activities, how well you churn out your messages and try to make sure that it resonates with the people, how well you are in terms of your ability to articulate clearly your policies and programs and the rest of them. There's a whole mix of factors that are likely to come to play. So yes, the fact that somebody emerge tops or even last is inconsequential here. The important thing is that you need five people. Five people, at the moment we have four. Four are in, ready. And then it depends upon how well you put up your performance. Remember, we've seen this thing in soccer, where people qualify early stages to quarterfinals and all that. But eventually, when we get to the finals, we see surprises, and it's not different from what we are going to witness November 4. So a contest of this nature, you are likely to have a lead in terms of what your strides and all that. But that has also not been the case that once you are incumbent, you are likely to win election. We saw Aliyu Mahama, who was also in the same position, but could not cross the route.
But Nana Komia, who speaks for the campaign team of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, insists that it will be impossible for the gap to be closed by any of the aspirants.
Dynamics may change, but the dynamics would change in better favor of Bawumia. Because when you look at the scale of his victory, the margins are so wide that it's virtually impossible for the other colleagues to cross that margin. These are not close margins. There are 10 of them, 10. If you added the votes of the 9, the total votes is less than half of what Bawumia got. That is what you have. If Bawumia had gotten 45% and the second person had gotten 33%, the third person had gotten 31%, then you could say if all of those groups come together. But if you tallied up their votes, it still doesn't amount to half.
Meanwhile, Alan Trementing, who was tipped to be the main contender of the vice president, was placed third. Yaboabia Samuel, spokesperson for his campaign team, said their main aim was to be part of the first 5 to go for the Congress.
History is not repetitive. History is subjective to the era. So it informs the present and the future based on best practices. So the history of Nanado and Alan Trementing is a contest of two very strong personalities fighting for the favor of this party. And this party determining that Mr. Trementing must wait his turn for Nanado to have a crack at the presidency. And therefore, for every consequential election, the party kept consolidating behind Nanado. I mean, in 2014, there was a lot of pressure on Mr. Trementing not to run at all, just to allow Nanado to go ahead. So some even say that he didn't respond and decided to run meant that then the party was determined to tell him that he shouldn't have because they wanted Nanado to have a crack at it. So that line is not because Trementing declined in popularity. It was because there party was determined to consolidate support behind Nana Addo unequivocally so that the party could take Nana into the presidency, which we succeeded in doing.
Are you saying that you went into the elections over the weekend to come third or to place third?
We didn't go in to look for a placement. We didn't go in to look for a placement. We didn't care where we were as long as we were in the 5. That as far as we are concerned, I'm on record to have said well before we went that it wasn't a useful exercise for us. I'm on record to have said that even if we had 1 vote, we wouldn't really bother. I'm on record to have said that the important thing was that we were part of the 5, and happily, we are part of the 5.
We can now go live to Samuel Mbura, who is currently at the NPP headquarters for details on a meeting between the Elections Committee and the 2 aspirants in a tie from the Superdelegates election. Mbura, we know this meeting is critical to the NPP. What do we know so far from our sources?
All right. With regards to the 2 aspirants who are in a tie, Mr. Boache Jako and Adainimo, the committee has presented a report. That the election committee has presented a report to the National Executive Council, which has been received by the General Secretary of the NPP and has been forwarded to the National Council of the party for further decisions and instructions on that. But at the moment, the elections committee, as well as the bigwigs of the party, are waiting for 10 aspirants for them to come and have a meeting with them. This meeting affords them the opportunity to bring to bear the evidence of accusations during the elections. We know very well that some of the aspirants were raising concerns about alleged bribery and then influence of delegates, attacks. We saw videos from the Northeast region and then concerns from the camp of Kennedy Japan in the Central region. So the 10 aspirants coming to meet the election committee would be given the opportunity to tender their evidence. If there are any, then the election committee would peruse it and take further actions on it. At the moment, the General Secretary, Justin Kwedia, is here with some of the members of the elections committee. I've spoken to some of the aspirants. They tell me they are on their way here, but none of the aspirants has actually arrived here at the NPP headquarters. So we are still waiting patiently to get to the details of what will transpire today. It's actually going to be a long day conversation with all these 10 aspirants in the NPP headquarters here.
Have you been picking up any information about the runoff election coming off for the 2 contenders who were in a tie?
So that would depend on the recommendations from the National Council. So even within the revised timetable of the Elections Committee of the NPP, they indicated that as of yesterday, they were supposed to present the report to the National Executive Council, and that has been done. So the report has been given to the National Executive Council, which has been forwarded to National Council. We are waiting for a recommendation on that. But we do know that after the elections on Saturday, the Elections Committee Chairman, Professor Mike Aaron Okwe, announced that they are going to conduct that election this weekend, this Saturday. So everything being equal, if nothing changes, the election is coming up this weekend. But what we do know is that there are backdoor conversations between these 2 aspirants as to either one supporting the other going for the election. So for now, it's still uncertain whether the elections will come off or not. But that decision depends on the 2 aspirants. But from the side of the party, the elections are bound to happen. But the change will come from the 2 aspirants.
Thank you very much. Samuel Mbura is a man on the ground at the NPP headquarters. The Sonin Asogli Power Limited, one of Ghana's first independent power producers with a production capacity of 560 megawatts, is set to expand its power generation capacity with the construction of a 3rd phase plant. Now, the project, when completed, will add 508 megawatts of power to the national grid. Co-founder of the IPP, Toby Afede, announced this at the launch of activities, to match the 20th anniversary celebration of his installment as the Agbogbo Mafia of the Asogli State in Accra. There's more on the following report.
Notable projects that we have promoted over the past years include, and thanks to my friends from Shenzhen Energy, the 560 megawatt Sunon Hydroelectric power plant, which accounts for 15% of Ghana's power generation capacity. And again, thanks to the support of the chiefs and people of Boom, who gave us land for the project. Thanks to the same support, Hydroelectric Power is looking at the third phase of this project that will add another 508 megawatts of capacity. We also promoted Africa World Alliance, which is exploring opportunities for an aggressive coverage of all of West Africa and beyond, in an attempt to make Ghana truly an aviation hub in our sub-region. That is why I'll continue to dedicate myself to the noble fight, the battle against poverty, deprivation, and suffering. I look for the support of all of you as I intensify my efforts to bring development to our country. Major developments that I intend pursuing going forward include the following. Again, thanks to my friends from Shenzhen Energy and Hydroelectric Power, whose chairman, Mr. Yan, is with us here. The 50 megawatt solar project in the north, which is ongoing thanks to my colleague chiefs from Damongo in the Savannah region, who gave us land for the purpose. 50 megawatts wind power project in Adan, again thanks to the support of the chiefs of Adan Sege area. As you've heard, we intend developing the Ghana Aviation Academy to be based at the whole airport. We believe that would inspire a lot of our young people to pursue careers in aviation, while also boosting our tourism industry. I'm excited about the soon to be completed HAS Africa Sports Academy, which is a special gift to the youth of our country. It will be the most modern sports academy in the country.
Environmental conservation NGO Arusha Ghana is questioning why institutions like the World Bank will continue to fund the reclamation of lands devastated by illegal miners at the expense of the ordinary taxpayer. Data for Global Forest Watch indicates trees sitting on 1.41 million hectares of land, equivalent to half the size of the Ashanti region, were destroyed across Ghana between 2001 and 2021. JoyNews checks indicate more destruction of forests in 2022 and 2023, with Ghana securing $103 million from the World Bank to reclaim these lands. There's more in the following excerpts of our upcoming Hotline documentary dubbed Forest Under Siege.
Think of Ghana's forest as a pair of lungs or kidneys, cleaning our air and water, regulating rainfall, sunshine, and serving as a buffer against natural disasters. The country's kidneys and lungs are currently being attacked and perforated at a faster rate by illegal mining. Global Forest Watch data indicates that between 2001 and 2021, trees sitting on 1.41 million hectares of land were destroyed across Ghana. The destruction of tree cover is equivalent to about half the size of the entire Ashanti region, which is about 2.4 million hectares.
Indeed, this is the largest. In fact, I don't even know how to start and how to end. I'm even shocked seeing the ground like this. The largest so far.
Forests degraded, water sources polluted, and the attendant change in climatic conditions have affected farming.
It is the forest that gives farmers in this area rain to farm. But now, if God doesn't intervene, we will not have the rains to grow our crops.
Many of these farmers have had their source of livelihood destroyed by the mining of this forest. But their taxes will pay for the $103 million contracted to reclaim the devastation. Environmental conservation organization Arocha Ghana has a problem with that.
Sometimes I ask myself, why does even the World Bank even support such initiatives or push those initiatives before us?
Daryl Bosu is Deputy National Director.
Business persons have been given concessions. They've gone into our forest reserves, into our landscape, mined it for gold, traded it, kept the profit for themselves. And the public is going to pay for a loan that is now going to be used to reclaim the mess of some businesses. It's not fair. And there's no way anyone, and even the World Bank, should support such an initiative.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Today on Stories of Hope, we take you to the vibrant streets of Accra where two friends turned adversity into triumph, transforming their passions into thriving businesses. Emmanuel Tay and Emmanuel Tremanting, who despite facing the challenges of job loss during the banking sector shakeup, have emerged as shining examples of determination. The following report delves into their journeys.
Hello. Yes, Quick Rent Africa. Emmanuel here. Okay, what kind of property is that? 2-bedroom apartment at La Paz.
In the heart of Accra, these two gentlemen have turned their passions into thriving businesses. Emmanuel Tay, 32, is helping a client find a rented apartment, and his friend Emmanuel Tremanting now constructs aquariums for homes and offices. But it wasn't all rosy 5 years ago, when these two were laid off their jobs.
Sources close to the Bank of Ghana indicate that the bank was forced to take the action because Barclays Ghana, which would soon be rebranded as ABSA, on several instances had breached market rules.
To the government, it was a banking sector cleanup, but to employees, it was an unemployment crisis. Several indigenous banks were either collapsed or merged between 2017 and 2019. Many employees went to bed and woke up the next day without a job. Tay was a victim of the restructuring and unexpectedly lost his position as an accounting manager at Beige Bank after 5 years. He said it was one of the lowest moments in his life. He lost his source of income and trying to secure other jobs wasn't easy.
You have a job, you go to work every morning, and then you wake up one day and they say the company has been taken over.
Yeah.
So first of all, I lost my livelihood. I lost my lifestyle. You had a certain lifestyle. Imagine someone who was earning something little at the end of the month, and then all of a sudden I have to be home, and the idea of not having a job to go to itself became a bit depressing.
Just about the same time, Tremanting experienced the same predicament, and right from the breadwinner of his home, he started depending on his parents for handouts.
I was a field sale officer. As we go out and we speak to prospects on loans, we give out loans. So mostly I was on the field. Okay, so we can speak to the clients, okay, but taking back, once we give the loan, taking back is the problem. So I have to be laid off.
He began working menial jobs just to survive. However, unknown to them, these two were about to embark on remarkable journeys that would change their lives. Tre had loved aquariums right from his science class in school, but never had paused for a second to design them. But after he lost his job, he decided to turn his dream into reality. Instead of brooding over his problems, he used this period to experiment. Shortly after, he landed his first contract.
I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs who talks about how to, to be able to translate your passion into wealth or something like that. So when I was laid off, I thought of, apparently I saw one aquarium on the television. It was very nice. You get it? So that is also, I got my passion also from there, aside from the idea of the center table. So that is where I googled in Ghana to see if I can see any aquarium shops. So I saw some few, and then I paid them a visit, and I saw how they built it. So I went to the internet to learn more about it. So that is how come I started my aquarium. And in fact, the first order I had was very huge, was very big.
Tai tried many times to secure a job but failed. The COVID-19 pandemic threw a spanner in the works. You're still watching Joy News Today. We'll be right back with business.
Hello, welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Goldline Mining Company Limited is investing part of its profits in improvement of road network in the Amansia South district of the Ashanti region. A total of 2.5 kilometers of road will be reshaped with 8 major bridges and drains constructed under the project. This is in response to an appeal for the company to adopt the initiative as part of its corporate social responsibility. Anaya Ojima has more in the following report.
In the rainy season, many communities are cut off due to flooding and the rough nature of roads in the Amansia area. Farmers are unable to visit their farms, sometimes for days.
On rainy days, we find it difficult to go to our farms. Sometimes we don't go because it floods.
Roads in the Manso Enclave, a major area for gold production, remain in poor shape. Government has already commenced construction of about 60 kilometers of road, including 25-kilometer highway to link Ashanti and Western North regions. Nonetheless, some areas are yet to be served. District Chief Executive for Amansia South, Clement Opoku Jemfi, is optimistic the partnership with the mining company for the 2.5 million kilometer road will largely benefit communities.
As part of the corporate social responsibility as a company, they have also decided to heed to our call and construct 8 bridges in the Apunapon Wahasu community, for which they operate within that community. So it's as part of their corporate social responsibility to construct 8 bridges and do some drain work for us and do reshaping as well. What you are seeing here, it's a farm, the road leading to their farms, and whenever it rains, they find it so difficult to even get to their farms. So 2 bridges will be constructed here.
Already, most of the materials needed for the construction is secured for the project to take off. Chief Executive Officer of Goldline Mining Company, Emmanuel Abebio, is upbeat about the economic impact of the road.
This road has to be constructed so they will have free flow of the movement. And also nearness to their cocoa farm. Last week we saw some old lady, about 75 to 80 years, crossing this road, and it was raining. It took us, the employees of Goldline, to save this woman. Now we cannot let this one happen again. That's why I took it as a private owner of the mining company. Again, it is time we don't depend on the government. Government have too much on their plate.
Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Now, Origin, a product of Guinness Ghana, is marking its 8th anniversary on the market by introducing Untamed, a platform dedicated to discovering talents in music and the arts. The champion of this competition stands to win an impressive prize of 80,000 Ghana cedis. Here's more.
Origin, product by Guinness, is celebrating its 8th anniversary since they came into the market, and as part of the celebration has launched Untamed, which seeks to unearth talent. Speaking with Ya Amwa Awoso, who is the marketing manager in charge of Spirit and RTD at Guinness Ghana, she explained that Untamed simply seeks to celebrate Ghanaian talent in music and art, which is going to take place in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi and Tamale, with the winner taking away an amount of 80,000 Ghana cedis.
Origin
Origin has launched a campaign which is called Origin Untamed. Origin Untamed simply celebrates Ghanaians with talent in music and art and who stay true to themselves. Ours is not like any regular reality show. We celebrate people who are really original in this field, who have stayed true to their craft, and that is what Origin Untamed is about. It is going to be a road show, which is going to be in 4 cities: Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and Tamale. And our mission is to just go on talent hunt people who have the talent in music and art. We will nurture them, bring them to Accra for the grand finale, and the final winner would win 80,000 Ghana cedis. And this 80,000 Ghana cedis, we are saying we are fueling the person's talent with it.
She went on to give the criteria through which one can take part, which is to submit entries on their social media handles and tag them.
So the criteria is very simple. We are opening up for people to file for nomination. So all we are saying is that you can submit your entries on our social media platforms. Submit and then tag us. When you tag us, we have judges who are well vested in this industry. They would be in a certain room where they would review all of the winners. This will be live recorded, so we'll share as well on our social media pages. The intention is for us to be able to give people an equal chance in all of this.
Estella Mozito, who is the Marketing and Innovation Director at Guinness Ghana, added that Origin has rebranded the look on its bottle, but with the same content as it used to, and added that 8 years is good enough to have a change in its look.
Yeah, so it's really not a rebranding, actually. It is just Origin being true to what it is. This is a brand that's about being true to your roots. It's about being inspired by your roots. It's what our drink is, inspired by Ghanaian herbs and fruits. And so what we're doing is celebrating 8 years of being in Ghana and using that to celebrate originality in all its forms. Basically what we're doing with Origin, first of all, is we are not changing the liquid. So your Origin is going to remain the way it tastes great. The price is also going to remain as it is. The only thing that we're changing is the way it looks.
All right, and that's it for this segment. Sports comes up after this break.
Thank you for staying with us on the news. Time now for the sport. I'm Gary L. Smith. We begin with the news that broke this morning that the Ghana Football Association has put its GFA election timetable on hold. This follows an injunction on the process filed by King Faisal FC. The club, through its lawyer James McQuaison, argues that according to the GFA's own statutes, a legitimate Congress cannot convene to elect the GFA president until the new members or representatives of the executive committee have been duly elected. King Faisal is appealing to the court to stop the GFA from holding the impending elections until the necessary elections for the reps from the National League clubs, the regional football associations, and other constituent bodies have been properly carried out. Additionally, King Faisal seeks a court declaration that initiating the nomination process for the GFA president election before conducting the elections for the executive committee representatives is both incorrect and unlawful. The GFA in a statement today said, quote, all its members and stakeholders, especially applicants who have filed their nomination forms for the various positions of the suspension of the 2023 GFA elections process until the hearing of the motion on Wednesday, the 30th of August, 2023. That's tomorrow. From Strong Tower FC in Nima in the suburbs of Accra to the Olympic Stadium in London, Mohamed Kudus continues to write his own story on the global stage. The latest is the move to East London to play for West Ham, which has left excitement on the faces of the club supporters, especially from a group of Ghanaians. In this report, Lawrence Bedu looks at how the Ghanaian Hammers have taken the news.
Mohamed Kudus over the weekend became the third Ghanaian after John Pinto and Andre Ayew to sign for Premier League side West Ham United after completing a 35 million euros move from Ajax Amsterdam. The transfer created a lot of buzz on social media, with Ghanaian fans full of excitement about his arrival in the Premier League. But away from the pitch, a group that is hoping to capitalize positively on the momentum of Kudus' signing is the Ghanaian Hammers, West Ham's official supporters group in Ghana. Formed in 2010, the group has embarked on a series of events aimed not just at promoting the club's fan base here in Ghana, but also and more importantly, helping the less privileged.
I think the main core mandate that we have is on our mission. Our mission is to what? Bring an impact or smile to the faces of the less privileged, and we have been doing that. Throughout the years, West Hams have donated a lot of staffs that we can't just mention, though cash and everything, but we've been able to bring people to understand that if you are less privileged, you can be helped. We supported education, we supported structures, and then we think this is not the last thing we'll be doing. We are open to anything, so if Kudus is saying that he's coming on board, we can't wait to meet him and then see the project that we'll take with him. The whole issue was to look at teams that produce academic impact. Then I've tried my best to look at West Ham, and then I've seen that the likes of Lampard, the likes of Joe Cole, the likes of Ferdinand, the Ferdinand family, the Antoine and then Rio Ferdinand, all these people were nurtured from West Ham. So I said, okay, it's like this is a transition team. So I supported them from 2010. So way back 2013, I had fan base that was increasing. From there, then here comes John Benjamin, the former UK High Commissioner. I always give him the respect wherever he is. He came 2017, and he called me to let me know how much he loved my content. Through there, we have no less than 300 members now across Ghana. I can just say Upper West Region, Tamale, and then.
Thank you for staying with us on the Sport News Content.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews Today. Now, London's Islington Assembly Hall was transformed into a lively energy hub as the Asaka Boys took the stage during the remarkable Asaka Boys World Tour. The Ghanaian music group left an unforgettable mark on the audience, delivering a resonant performance. Away from Asaka Boys, Joy Prime's Big Chef Tertiary on Sunday saw another eviction, which left the remaining 5 teams in shock. For the week's challenge, the contestants were asked to shop for their own ingredients and prepare any authentic Ghanaian meal of their choice. Here is what you've missed.
I just want to be wild. Contestant, you have exactly 60 minutes to prepare us your authentic Ghanaian meal.
Yes, sir.
If in fancy. Okay, so what are you preparing?
Gary Potter.
You are doing the Gary Potter.
Yes, sir.
And tidy up as you work. Stop work, step back. Your coconut texture was very good. And it was very smooth in the mouth. Whole Technical University.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I
was being carried away, so
it's okay. Your meal was good. Thank you very much.
I can see your onions were cut without any selection. Whether you are in or out today, that is not the last of you. That is not the end of the road.
The moment have come. The star school of the day is Whole Technical University. And it's unfortunate Whole Technical University will be exiting from this company.
Congratulations to Whole Technical University on winning that Star of the Day for the Big Chef. That'll be all for Showbiz here on JoyNews Today. Good afternoon to you, Mamisi.
Becky, what food would you have prepared?
Rice, beans, something.
Well, on that note, we end JoyNews Today. Thanks for keeping us company. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson.